Everyone on Moments calls me a drama queen, and I never argue. After all, there's probably no one else who'd send funeral invitations to 3 childhood best friends just because they saw a video of a pre-death funeral. When I sent the parcels, I was sitting on the hospital bed in Washington, my fingertips brushing the last invitation. There was only one line on the card, March 17th, welcome to Emma's funeral. The ink had seeped through the paper, like unhidden secrets. In a trance, memories came flooding back, the warmth of Lily braiding my hair, the strength with which Sophia defended me, the texture of Mike sneaking me spicy strips, and the creases of the cheer up note Alex had handed me. Lily was the first to message me, her usual impulsive tone shining through. Emma, is this some new scam? I'm calling the police. I quickly forwarded the pre-death funeral video, my hands trembling. It's not a scam. I want to hold my own funeral. Back in kindergarten, when someone stole my toy, she'd clenched her fists, taken it back, and glared at the thief, saying, "Don't bully Emma." From that day on, I'd looked up to her as my big sister. The screen stayed silent for a long time before her reply came, "Honey, stop messing around." I knew she didn't believe me, just like last time when I said I was fine after catching a fever, but she'd braved a heavy rain to come see me from the other side of Washington. She always thought I was joking, but this time, I didn't have the energy to laugh it off. Next was Sophia, the driven career woman who always had overtime on her lips. She only sent 7 cold words, swamped with work lately. No time for your games. But back in high school, when I'd hidden on the playground near the National Mall, sobbing over a broken heart, she'd sat beside me silently, passing me tissues, and stayed with me all night. The next day, she'd even cornered the boy who'd hurt me and warned him off. She'd always been tough on the outside, soft on the inside, hiding her care beneath a hard shell. Mike took it to another level, a ha 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 followed by a thumbs up emoji, crushing my sincerity. He must have thought this was just another of my impulsive pranks. After the college entrance exam, we went to the beach, and I'd twisted my ankle. He'd carried me the whole way, his t-shirt soaked with sweat, yet still laughing and saying, "You're as light as a feather." He always seemed carefree, but he was always the first to show up when I needed him. I smiled bitterly at the screen, scrolling through our group chat, my finger pausing on Alex's dark avatar. 6 years ago, he'd moved to Shanghai with his mom. We'd only kept in touch through occasional international calls, and eventually, even those faded with time. The night before he left, we'd sat on a bench in our neighborhood for hours. He'd given me his favorite fountain pen, "Write to me if you miss me." But I'd been afraid of disturbing his new life, so I never sent a single letter. I thought for 2 minutes, blaming the "no one believes me" problem on the shabby invitations. Then it hit me, maybe it was my own fault for being such a drama queen in the past. On graduation night after the college entrance exam, just because Lily said, "I can't see the stars," I dragged them on a 3-hour night bike ride to the top of a mountain in the suburbs. Half a year ago, before skydiving in Barcelona, I'd even sent a suicide note in the group chat, scaring them into making overseas calls all night. My credibility had long been shattered by those constant stunts. But this time was different. I was really dying. The diagnosis under my pillow, the 4 words, terminal cancer, felt like a block of ice, pressing against my back every second. Since the invitations weren't working, I tried a new approach. The next day, I sneaked out of the hospital and went to a barbershop to shave my head. Staring at my bald reflection in the mirror, I grinned, "This will definitely make a stunning funeral photo." The barber's hands shook as he looked at my bare head. "Miss, funeral photos are usually in black and white." "I want color," I said. "It's my first time being bald, I need to keep it as a memory." The barber sighed and pressed the shutter. When the photo was printed, sunlight spilled over the paper, making my smile glow. He said, "This is the most special funeral photo I've ever taken." With the photo in hand, I went to an event planning company, I want an outdoor lawn venue, with mountains and water nearby. The theme is a funeral, but style it like a high-end party, include a check-in wall and a dessert area. Keep the vibe happy. The planner's pen froze on the paper, their eyes wide with shock. Are you sure this is for yourself? Yeah, my name's Emma, I said, touching my bald head. Don't worry about the budget. I'm dying, money's useless to me now. The young planner's eyes turned red. How old are you? I held up my fingers proudly. 25. Lived a quarter of a century, pretty impressive, right? The planning company offered to do the setup for free, but I refused. I didn't want to trade pity for kindness. Before leaving, I hesitated, then asked, could you help me make a formal digital invitation? I want to send it to my best friends. That night, back in the hospital, the group chat suddenly came alive. Lily tapped my avatar. Emma, where have you been fooling around lately? Mike chimed in, yeah, Emma, you haven't posted photos in ages. Ever since you won that award, our big photographer Emma's gotten so mysterious. I chuckled at the screen. They'd clearly written off the invitation as a prank, yet they couldn't help reaching out, desperate to find proof that nothing was wrong. I deliberately stayed quiet, remembering the year we graduated from college. We'd all been busy starting our adult lives, except me. Thanks to the freedom of being a landscape photographer, I'd filled the group chat with photos of places I'd visited. Back then, Lily and Mike would always complain, stop rubbing it in, but every time I posted a photo, Sophia would silently like it and Alex would comment, nice weather? Stay safe. A year ago, my photography work won an international award. I'd invited them to dinner, but no one had time. Lily was working overtime, Sophia was on a business trip, Mike was with his girlfriend, and Alex was swamped with a project in Shanghai. Coincidentally, that was also the day I got my diagnosis. Now that I thought about it, I was glad they hadn't come. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known how to hide the truth behind a smile. As I stared blankly at the screen, an international call came in. The caller ID read, Alex. Emma, his deep voice came through the receiver, hoarse with the early morning in Shanghai. I got a weird letter, did you send it? I was too sleepy to keep my eyes open. Yeah, I mumbled. Don't joke like this, there was a faint tremor in his voice. I wanted to tease him, but exhaustion washed over me like a tide. I'm not joking, I whispered, fighting to stay awake. Alex, I'm dying. The line went completely silent, except for the faint buzz of static. My eyelids grew heavier and heavier. If you don't say anything, I'm going to sleep, I slurred, then slipped into darkness. When I woke up the next day, I realized the call had lasted 2 hours. The nurse scolded me for sneaking out of the hospital the day before. I was too busy copying an adorable act to think about why Alex hadn't hung up, until the hospital room door pushed open, and there stood Alex, looking worn out and disheveled. He was in a crumpled suit, his eyes bloodshot, his hair a mess, obviously straight off the plane. The flight from Shanghai to Washington was over 10 hours, he must have rushed to the airport the second we'd gotten off the phone. Emma, he walked toward me step by step, each step unsteady yet determined. His eyes were so red it scared me. I tried to reach out and poke his cheek, but he grabbed my hand tightly the moment I lifted it. Come to Shanghai with me, he begged, his voice breaking. I'll find the best doctors. We'll cure you. I smiled, pulling my hand back to ruffle his hair. The doctors say I should enjoy the time I have left. Besides, I was born American, and I'll die American. How could I die abroad? His tears fell onto my hand, burning like fire. He leaned down, pressing his forehead to mine, his voice choking, I'm not as strong as you think. I know. I'd always known. When we were 17, his mom had come to take him to Shanghai. He'd knocked on my door that night, his eyes red, saying, I don't want to go, his voice shaking as he hugged me. Back then, I could still comfort him. I'll come visit you in Shanghai someday. But now, I didn't even dare lie. That night, he'd given me a notebook filled with our memories, along with a cartoon drawing of the four of us. Next to it, he'd written, "Friends forever." We were sitting in silence when we heard a noise at the door. I looked up and saw Sophia standing there, in a tailored suit, a look of undisguised shock on her face. Our eyes met, and she suddenly covered her mouth and ran away. I knew her too well. She was definitely hiding to cry. Once, when I'd failed at starting a business and owed a huge debt, she'd quietly transferred her savings to me, saying, "Money doesn't matter. As long as you're okay." She always hid her tenderness beneath a tough exterior. "I'll go check on her." I tried to push Alex away, but he wouldn't let go. We were locked in a standoff when Lily and Mike walked in. Lily lunged toward the bed, stumbling, tears streaming down her face, unable to say a word. Mike stood behind her, usually a cheerful guy, but now his eyes were red, and it took him a long time to choke out, "Emma, you've lost weight." My eyes suddenly stung. I'd always thought I could face death calmly, but seeing them with red, tearful eyes, I suddenly wanted to be selfish. I didn't want to die. I hadn't gotten to say a proper goodbye. I hadn't gone to Lily's favorite concert with her, hadn't visited the Bund in Shanghai with Sophia, hadn't eaten hot pot at that famous Washington restaurant with Mike, hadn't gone stargazing with Alex on that mountain we used to visit as kids. I forced myself to stay awake, pulling a few sheets of paper from the nightstand and handing them over. "If you want to come to my funeral, you have to sign this agreement first." The paper listed my funeral rules. 1. Obey every part of the plan unconditionally. 2. Follow the party dress code. 3. No crying. They took the paper, their hands trembling, but still signed their names carefully, stroke by stroke. After signing, Lily glared at me fiercely. "Emma, you're such a jerk." I smiled back. "Yeah, so you guys have to stick with me till the end." But I still didn't make it to the funeral. The cancer cells spread wildly. I slipped into unconsciousness again and again, and every time I woke up, I'd find them by my bed, Lily holding my hand, her eyes swollen like walnuts, peeling my favorite strawberries and saying, "When you get better, we'll go pick strawberries at the orchard." Sophia sitting beside me, her laptop open but forgotten, tucking the blanket around me from time to time and murmuring, "Sleep well, and I'll take you to buy dresses later." Mike lying on the edge of the bed, sound asleep, muttering, "Emma, don't leave. We haven't gone bungee jumping yet." Alex sitting in a chair, watching me the whole time, holding that notebook, flipping through it now and then. I asked them, "Don't you need to work?" Lily opened her mouth, then said, "Work isn't as important as you. I'll quit if I have to." Sophia turned her head away, her voice hoarse. "I took a long leave. I'll go back when you're better." The planners came to visit me, saying they'd keep the venue ready. The owner of the suburban guesthouse messaged me, saying the lawn was always available, and that he'd even planted my favorite sunflowers. Even my favorite band had recorded a video to play at the funeral. The lead singer smiled and said, "Emma, when you get better, we'll give you a private concert." Everyone was waiting for me. How could I give up? Finally, 5 days later than planned, I was well enough to go to my own funeral in a wheelchair. The check-in wall at the entrance of the lawn was decorated with fresh flowers, reading, "Emma's Funeral," with 4 familiar names underneath, Lily, Sophia, Mike, Alex. Next to it, there was a photo of us as kids, grinning brightly, holding wild flowers we'd just picked. Beyond the check-in wall, the lawn was covered with balloons and flowers, sunlight glinting off them. A small stage stood in the middle, with my favorite guitar on it, and a big screen next to it looping photos of the 4 of us. I was wondering where everyone was when the electronic screen in the center of the lawn lit up, displaying a line of text, "Emma's Life Flashback." This was a part I'd planned to include but had to cancel due to my health, and they'd done it for me. The screen first showed a baby photo, and Lily's voice played. Emma was born on a summer morning. Her parents hoped she'd live a safe life. I went to the hospital to see her back then. She was so tiny, like a little angel. Next came an old video, 4-year-old me, with my hair in top knots, standing on a rock in our neighborhood, yelling, "Comrades, the treasure is up ahead, charge." Little Mike had run out first and tripped. I'd tricked him into hiding as a backup, and he'd stayed crouched under a bush for an hour until Lily's mom came to fetch him. Lily's voice was full of laughter. He was so silly back then. Later, he even asked me when the treasure would show up. Then there was a video from when we were 6. I tried to sneak up on Alex to scare him, but accidentally kissed his cheek. Lily's laughter came from off-screen. My mom and Emma's mom were screaming excitedly nearby, saying, "They kissed." Later, Alex even asked me secretly if Emma liked him. I laughed at him for being conceited. In a video from when we were 12, I'd stared glumly at the camera and said, "Sophia failed her exam and hid to cry." Sophia's mom could be heard off camera asking, "You know that and you still came over?" I'd puffed out my chest proudly. "I'll hug her after she stops crying. I'm the best at comforting people." Sophia's voice played from off-screen. I thought no one knew back then, but she stayed with me the whole time. She even gave me her favorite doll. At the school sports meet when we were 15, I'd lost a bet and had to run the 1,500-meter race. I'd threatened them into running with me. I'd felt so down when I couldn't find them before the race. Then I'd seen 4 teenagers in white shirts running toward me. The sun had shone on them, their shirt hems fluttering in the wind. Lily had shouted, "Emma, we're here." Mike's voice played. I got tired halfway through, but when I saw her still going, I found the strength to keep running. In the end, we crossed the finish line together. The voices from off-screen suddenly merged with the images. I turned my head and saw Lily, Sophia, Mike, and Alex standing in the sunlight, wearing the dresses and suits I'd specified, smiling as they walked toward me. Lily held sunflowers, Sophia carried a beautifully wrapped box, Mike had a big cake, and Alex held that notebook. "Emma, we're here." My nose tingled, but I held back my tears. We agreed no crying. Don't be the first to break the rule. The second part was impromptu eulogies. They hadn't prepared anything, but one by one, they stood up. Mike stood first, his eyes red. "Emma, you're the bravest person I've ever known. When we were kids, I never felt scared when I was with you. Once, we were playing by the river, and I fell in. You jumped in to save me without thinking. You didn't even know how to swim, but you tried so hard to push me to the shore. After that day, I swore I'd always protect you." Halfway through, he collapsed onto the table, sobbing, "I can't go on. I really don't want to lose you." Lily went next. "Emma, I'm not good with words. I just want you to be happy every second you're alive. When we were kids, you always followed me around. I thought it was annoying back then, but later I realized how lucky I was to have you. You were there for me through every happy and sad moment. I'm so glad you're my friend." Her lips curved into a smile, but tears kept falling. Sophia bit her lip, her tone sharp. "Emma, if you dare leave us, every year on your birthday, I'll make you the mango cake you hate the most. And during Spring Festival, I won't save you any sparklers when we set off fireworks. But I know you won't. You still have to go to Shanghai with me, see the Bund at night, eat xiaolongbao." I looked at them, my heart filled with warmth. Alex helped me sit up, his voice gentle. "Emma, we still have so much time. So many things we haven't done together." I nodded, smiling, "Yeah. We still have so much time." Alex cupped my face, pressing his forehead to mine, and began to recite softly, "I offer you the loyalty of a man who has never been loyal. I offer you the memory of a yellow rose seen at sunset, years before you were born. I offer you my loneliness, my darkness, the hunger of my heart. It was Borges. What can I give you? I closed my eyes, smiling, my heart full of happiness. Alex, I hear you. I hear it all. When I woke up again, I was back in the hospital. Lily was sitting by my bed, her eyes red. You're finally awake. We didn't finish the funeral. The band sent a video for you, and we took group photos, only you were missing. She handed me her phone. On the screen, the band was playing my favorite song, and my best friends were dancing on the lawn, big smiles on their faces. I pouted a little. That's not perfect. I want to have another funeral. Okay, another one. We'll do it when you get better, Sophia said, touching my head gently. Mike chimed in, yeah. Next time, we'll dance together and eat cake together. Alex held my hand, whispering softly, next time, I'll recite poetry for you again. Summer came before we knew it, and my second funeral was held as planned. This one was even more lively. The lawn in the Washington suburbs was strung with colorful lanterns, each inscribed with our names and warm messages. Next to the check-in wall was a huge photo wall, covered with pictures of us from the day we met until now, along with photos of our daily lives. On the stage, the band played cheerful music, and below, my best friends and other guests danced together. Mike still cried the hardest, but this time, his tears were of joy. Through sobs, he said, Emma, you're finally better. We'll never have to hold another funeral again. Lily glared at him while secretly wiping her tears, holding a strawberry cake and feeding me bites now and then. Taste this. I made it just for you. Sophia was discussing the next part of the event with the planners, glancing over at me now and then. Alex stood beside me, holding my hand the whole time, his eyes filled with tenderness, whispering little jokes in my ear to make me laugh. On the tombstone in the center of the lawn, my epitaph was carved. Emma said, goodbye, friends. But we all knew, it wasn't a goodbye. It was a new beginning. Sunlight fell on us, the wind carried the scent of summer, and the air was filled with the fragrance of flowers and the sweetness of cake. I knew that in the days ahead, we'd experience more things together, see more scenery, and create more beautiful memories. This precious friendship would shine forever in our lives, like the stars in the sky.